welcome to my channel. It's a beautiful Saturday. Hi, puppies! Hi, puppies! We got a cute little puppy dog named Snickerdo. Oh. Should get my headphones. Hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Anybody? What's up, people of YouTube on my Backup Van Life channel? Thanks for joining me. I'm Aphrodite with Starfire. Somebody want to type something in the chat so I know I'm not talking into space. To space. You guys like my shirt? Look, it has a bow. It has a bow in the back. I can't see any messages. Oh, oh, Peyton. Hi, Peyton. Adrian, thank you. Awesome. Hi, Callie. What's up? Thanks for joining. How's everybody doing today? Did you see there was another package that came? Are you going somewhere?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a bigger torch.
A bigger torch?
Yeah, I gotta heat up a part to take it apart.
Okay. Do you have enough money?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bye. This is gonna go buy a torch. Dimitri's doing some work on Karen's pickup truck that she got in an accident in. Somebody hit her and insurance won't pay. So Dimitri's fixing her truck. Yeah. So fighting a lot of battles these days. It's been really stressing me out. I submitted a cease and desist letter to somebody that submitted a cease and desist letter to me. I wrote that yesterday and sent it. It's so stressful, but I just want to say, do not promote racism. I am not a racist person. I love people of all backgrounds, from all descents, and I don't wish retaliation on anybody. Please don't harass anybody. Please don't bully anybody. Everybody needs to be treated with love and respect. Just putting that out there, because I'm getting accused of some heinous things. So yeah, I think I'll probably wait to share some more details on that stuff until it's more settled, because right now my channel is at risk of getting terminated due to multiple copyright strikes that were filed against me. 5 in total, and then 6 including a cease and desist letter that was sent to me, all from one person. And these are fraudulent copyright claims on my own personal content that I put together, some of which was obtained on the public domain and used under the confines of fair use for criticism and or commentary on the subject matter. But yeah, my channel was going to be terminated today, and then one of the copyright strikes kind of like went like in my favor. So then that cleared my channel, and I only had 2 strikes, but then she put in another copyright strike. So then that put my channel into termination mode again. So yeah, so now I have like, I think 6 more days, maybe 5 more days until my channel might be terminated. So my main channel. But anyways, so that's that. It really sucks, and it's sucking a lot of energy right now. Thanks, Adrian. Yeah, thanks, Callie. And then just the whole thing with Devin Matthews has been really like draining. It feels like he's allowed to get away with a lot of things, and I just kind of end up looking like a bad guy, or like, you know, so I made the video private, but you know, he's like, "Oh, leave me alone, leave me alone." But then he posted like 2 shirtless videos, you know, trying to tell people how to live again. So it's like, if you want to be left alone, like, why did you just post like more videos? But whatever, like, I guess some people just are able to slither out of being accountable for their actions. And I kind of wanted to talk about some recent dreams that I've had. Because people say that they don't really remember their dreams, and my dreams are just getting like more and more intense. Last night I had an Inception dream where I was dreaming that I was in high school, and it was like the end of senior year, and I was getting all really bad grades. Excuse me. And I was in class, and I was like going up to the teacher like with my paperwork with all my grades, and I was just like, I usually get straight A's, but it was all like B's and C's, and I was like worried if I was going to graduate, and then I woke up in my dream into another dream where I was telling people about the dream I just had in the high school. So in my second dream, I was saying, "Oh my gosh, I just had this." I was telling like a group of people about my dream of being in a high school and how stressed out I was, and like how I really felt like I was back in that stress mode of worrying about my grades and if I was going to graduate. Oh, and then I also had this part of the dream where it was like a rapture type situation, or the earth was being evacuated, and Dimitri and I were like waiting at this giant airport, like this station, and we were gonna board a plane, but it was like this kind of like, it kind of looked like the ship from Futurama, like it was like kind of like a wide blimp kind of shape, and we walked onto the plane, and when you walk in, it was kind of like a really nice, kind of looked like a really nice train almost, and I walk in, and people are like filing in and finding places to sit, and then like an attendant opens up kind of a door to the middle of the plane, and people start going through. I'm like, oh, this is access to the other side of the plane. And I was like, oh, let's go, like we need to go through here to get like better seats, because most of the people coming in were just filling in the seats on like this side of the plane. So I go through like the little tunnel passageway, and it's kind of low, so I'm gonna like ducking, and then it opens up to the middle of the plane. There's kind of like barriers and like a projection screen in the middle, and like nice kind of recliner leather chairs. Like it was like nicely spaced, and there was more older people like claiming their seats. And I was like, oh no, I want to go to the other side where the other windows are. So then I go through like another door, and now it's like the other side of the plane. And I've already lost Dimitri. I'm like, oh crap, like where did he go? And so like now I'm in like the area of the cafeteria, and it's like a donut shop, and it's like, so I'm trying to claim like a booth or somewhere to sit, and I see a place by a window, and it's like now the scene turned into like a regular donut shop on the street with like a regular window and like a glass door. So I start like taking off some of my like sweater and some of my things to try to hold my place on the seat at kind of where people eat in the donut shop area. And then I was just like wondering if Dimitri was waiting for me on the other side, like he claimed seats and he was waiting for me. I'm having a lot of dreams of being like evacuated off, like into planes, into ships. Usually I'm in like a Las Vegas type area with lots of kind of fancy, kind of ritzy skyscraper hotels. And then these are clustered dreams I had a few days ago. I dreamt that I was at this like, it was like a school situation, but it was like this really futuristic, but it was kind of like the scenes in the movie Elysium when they're at the upper echelon land, the space center up in the sky where the rich people live. It kind of was like that. And we were at this university, and it was like how you picture Romans or Greek people when they're gathering. Like there's a lot of people kind of lounging, you know, like laid out on their side. And it was like that, where there was all these college kids kind of lounging, but they were in more futuristic type, like plain clothes, not togas, but kind of just white and beige, like sweaters and sweatpants. And like the university opened up to this big green hill that I think that overlooked the ocean. And I was holding a class, like I was a teacher, but it was very like relaxed. And I pointed out, I was like, oh, see, we were like talking about some subject, and then I saw a guy running through a cornfield, and I'm like, see, that's because they were asking me what mania was. What is mania? And there was this man kind of that looked like a zombie, and he was running through corn, and it was like hitting him, and he was like, ah! And he was like grabbing at the corn, and I'm like, that's mania, like that's mania. And then another part of that dream, I kind of was the lady from when Enter the Stars did his, I think this came from Enter the Stars' recent video about the Super Mario Brothers movie. It was like I was in a cartoon, but I was in this high-rise building in like Manhattan at this very fancy cocktail party. And it was unlike a lot of my dreams, because this dream I was very like first person, like it was like my vision was set more back in my skull, so I could see kind of the confines of my skull, and like I could really see my hands. Like I was like a video like I was a camera inside this person's head, and it kind of looked like the girl Koopa, like the Koopa boss's girlfriend. She looked kind of German, and I had this kind of like tight, pointy dress on, and I was so thirsty. I was really, really, really thirsty, and I went to the table that had all of the, like a buffet and different drinks, and there was a drink of dark liquid, and it looked like soda. And I like walk over, like it was very uncomfortable, and it's kind of like I had this tunnel vision almost, like I had these like sides on, and it was almost like I looked at like a cartoon puppet or something. I walk over to the table and I take the drink, and I'm like, I shouldn't drink it, but I'm like, I'm so thirsty. So I start drinking it, and now I'm like looking into the bottom of the glass, and it's like a fizzy soda, and as I'm drinking and I'm swallowing it, I'm like, oh, it's Pepsi. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself in my dream, I'm like, as I'm swallowing the Pepsi, I'm like, I shouldn't be drinking Pepsi. And then I'm in my mind, I'm like, you've had Pepsi before, like you can convert it. Like you've had it so many times, your body's been primed for it. It can accept it. It's just you're really thirsty, like your thirst overrides any harm that it would do. And then I'm like, like in my head, I'm like, I don't know, but it's like I've already drank it. And as I'm like having this conversation, I could see this like squid hydra, like this tentacle. It's almost translucent, but it was at the bottom of the glass. And I slurp it and I drink it in. I drink in this like hydra. Like it's basically like just tentacles. Like there's not really much of a body. Like it has like a little like kind of a bead of a body, but yeah. And then another part of my dream, it was the same night this is a little, like, yeah. I was at like my mom, I keep on dreaming of this, it's almost like a ski chalet. It's like a big mansion kind of in the woods, but it's not in the woods, it's kind of in the mountain area. But it's also kind of my mom's old house, but it's a really big house. And in this part of my dream, I woke up in my old bed, and I had my long blonde hair, and I just had like a t-shirt, and I didn't have any underwear on. I just had a t-shirt, and I walked down. I was so thirsty, and I had to get some water. This is the same night I was thirsty and drank the Pepsi with the Hydra in it. And I walked downstairs, and it's in the middle of the night, and it's like the downstairs is dimly lit with like night lights, and I'm trying to go to the kitchen to get a glass of water, and there's all of these prisoners down in the downstairs, like in the living room, in the kitchen. There's all these men that are like shirtless that I know just got out of prison, and they're all like half asleep. They kind of look like they're in boot camp, but they're like these young prisoners. Then they're shirtless, and I'm like walking down. I'm like trying to sneak in and like pull down my shirt and like go to the kitchen and grab some water without them like waking up. But I can feel all of their eyes on me, like oh my God. And I get my drink, and then I start to walk upstairs, and all of a sudden I feel one of the men grab my ankle, and I get pulled. Ooh. Okay. I get pulled down into, there was like darkness there was darkness below my knees, and so I get like pulled down to the ground and pulled into the darkness, and I could like feel all these hands on me, and groping me and stuff. And like it's like I started like sinking, like I was in the darkness, and I was like sinking, and I could just feel the sensations. And I was just telling him, just let it happen, just let it happen. And then I woke up. So like that's probably was some kind of demonic attack. Because I know like the demonic attacks, they usually go through like they will turn you on in your dream. Like they use like the sexual stimulation. And it's usually when you have like, I think, a demonic attack, it's very kinetic. Like it's very, you have like really strong bodily sensation. All right, so you guys are chatting up a storm. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks, Adrian. So Adrian says, you're a good person. Some people just suck. LOL. Yeah. Callie says, these people are crazy and manic. Yeah. Kelly says, some of these people in the quote spiritual community record themselves on video displaying manic behavior, and they can't handle the opinions of the other people, then copy strike people. Yeah. Well, this person is copyright striking if I just talk about her, like literally, and it's all a retaliation of from me asking her to stop using racial slurs and I'm not even going to go into it. Kelly says, oh my God, so creepy. Hi, Lily Mama. She says, there's a saying that says the truth does not mind being questioned. A lie does. Oh, that's good. Kelly says, it's okay to be he needed to be dragged. Yeah, I know. He was totally losing it. And I think I only got like, I only left it up briefly, and then I made it private, and then I put it up briefly. So I only have like 209 views on it, I think. Yeah, you know, he posted videos after that, and they get like instantly 1,000 views of him telling people how to live. And he's like, leave me alone, leave me alone. And by the way, for the record, I want to say that it's impossible to have a natural triplet birth. Okay, so if anybody knows anything about human reproduction and genetics, the only way to have a triplet birth with 2 boys and a girl is to have in vitro. So, or to stimulate the body to release multiple eggs, the ovaries to release multiple eggs at once. But yeah. Callie says, I've been having crazy dreams lately, dreaming about goddesses and Lilith. Oh, cool. Hey, Joseph Newhouse, what's up? Adrian says, Lilith, was it a good or bad dream, Callie? Callie says, good dream. Adrian says, Aphrodite, maybe the spirits are telling you you need to get back into medicine. Maybe, like I'm always being recruited, like all the time. I know that beginning April, they've made it so that healthcare providers in California no longer need to have the new things. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's like, no, excuse me, no matter where I am, like, excuse me, I know I make a difference. It's just sometimes you get to be into a spot, like I'm not a, like sometimes I have to kind of go along with what the doctor or what, like, you know, common practice is, even if I disagree with it. And I can advise my patients like, hey, you know, this is the way I would do it. Like, modern medicine tells you this way, and like it's hard. You have to be very graceful, but yeah, I actually just helped some family member recently with some medical. I mean, I help family members a lot with medical advice, so it does come in handy because they're still trying to surf, you know, the whole medical system, which is very challenging right now because there's not a lot. There, you know, most people in the medical community are way overworked. They are burnt out. They just want to like get home, and you know, they're working for the weekends. So it's easy for things to fall through the cracks, and it's easy for medical providers just to follow like the standard way of doing things and not really think like the extra mile about, you know, possible more, you know, out of the box ways of why people are sick. Because a lot of times it's like a constellation of lifestyle and diet and other medications and stress and interpersonal relationships that are the main cause of sickness. And most of the times those are just like totally overlooked. Like even if you like tell the doctor like, hey, I'm like having these hard times in my life, or like, hey, you know, maybe somebody like started drinking more, like the doctor can be inclined to say, no, that's not why. Like, no, that's not why you're sick. Yeah. So we'll see. Callie says, sounds like astral production. What is the esoteric meaning of Super Mario? I've spoke about this before, but I had dreams when I was a teenager where I actually was in a video game, and it was super third perspective, where I was up in the sky visualing myself as a video game character hopping through obstacles, and it was all like block. It was like Super Mario 64, but it was like video game animation, but more blocky. It was kind of like Crash Bandicoot. And then when I'd jump through the obstacles, and there'd be like moving like bridges and stuff, and if I died, like this claw would come down and pick me up by my head and then move me back to the beginning, and then I'd start over again. And I like play like multiple levels in my dream. Hi, Sherelle. What's up? Oh, Sherelle, one of the James Munder video actually kind of got on my side. Hopefully she doesn't keep pursuing it. But that was one that they kind of judged in my favor, at least. Callie says she shouldn't be on YouTube if she can't handle the opinion of other people. Yeah. Adrian says, my husband is a twin. His twin is a girl. Yeah, that's way more, that's natural. Like fraternal twins, that's way more natural to have like one ovary release an egg and another ovary release at the same time. And you can have a boy and a girl. Triplets, eh. Adrian said, Adrian says, you're loved, Aphrodite. You do make a difference. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Callie says, yes, one of my family members works in healthcare, and it's changed their personality for the worse. Yeah, you can get so jaded. And your patience, when you're working with patients, runs so thin. Because the last thing you want to do when you get home is dote on somebody, or have to like make food for somebody or wash somebody. Like all you want to do when you get home, you need somebody to take care of you. Like that's how it is. Like if you work in healthcare, it's really hard to do it alone. You have to have like some input feeding your battery, because it's so draining, especially if you're an empath and you care about people, because people demand your attention and care, and like you can get, it's like sucking the energy out, like just like people like shooting their problems at you, and like you just have to like take it in. Yeah, and a lot of sick people, like people that are sick, even if they are the nicest people, like they can be nasty people when they're sick, and they don't mean to be, but like sick people act sick, and they're sometimes not pleasant to be around, and sometimes it can be like super draining, especially like when I was doing oncology and dealing with people on chemotherapy, how sick they get and miserable. Like so if you have diarrhea every day for 2 weeks, like you don't want to talk to somebody about your diarrhea. You don't want to try the third pill. You don't want to like do the chemotherapy again. And like I have to be like, come on, let's, we're going to try something new. We're going to fix it, la la. Like it really, you have to have like a partner that takes care of you when you get home and makes you dinner when you get home. Because if you're like going home and you have to take care of kids, or if you have to take care of a husband, or you have to do the laundry, and you have to like order stuff off of Amazon and make the kids lunches for the next day, like there's just no way. It's the money. It's like money for what? Money for the vacation, 1 week vacation, 2 week, 3 week vacation maybe that you get once a year, like that, your plane gets canceled, and the resort is dirty, and the horseback riding trip that you were looking forward to, they were all mangy and abused horses, like. But that's like what we're sold is what we're supposed to be working for. And then it's like the people in the medical profession that you see that are super successful and are driving the sports cars and a lot of times they don't have the empathy. Like they're able to get there and make the money because they aren't spending the extra time caring about the actual patients. They can, leave the work at home and live their fun life. But like when I go home, I worry about people that are sick, my patients. Like I think about things that I missed or things that I need to do the next day. Yeah, when you're dealing with like life and death stuff, it's it's pretty stressful. Adrian says the doctors are programmed from the jump. It's sad that they don't have enough of a mind to think for themselves. Yeah, and a lot of doctors go into it because they are pushed into it from family, or they are shown that this is kind of the epitome of society. You'll get like the best status being a doctor, which is true in a way, but I don't know. A lot of doctors they're just following what they're told. Brando Commando, hello. Super Mario is a is Freemasonry. Check out his apron. Hello. Callie says yes. Empath and compassion burnout. Yes, 100%. Brando says I'm a pharmacist. Oh really? People suck. The healthcare system sucks. Doctors are retarded. I know pharmacists have like totally had their workload increase over the past 10 years about like what they used to do versus what they do now. Like a lot of pharmacists are like working like as kind of primary healthcare providers in some aspects, like giving antibiotics and stuff to people that haven't seen a doctor yet. Adrian says, I'm an empath. I have to put up my shields to keep the energy away. It's tiring. Yeah, I actually last night put up my shields in my special way, and I hadn't done it in a long time. And I really felt that I needed to with the attacks that I've been feeling. I also feel like the main video that was the most charged that that I've had the hardest time with is the one where I explain the story of Vulcan and the mythology of Vulcan, because she likes to throw out that hand sign. So it's like I was thinking, like, is that why it's getting, like, is that the secret that's not supposed to get out, the secret god that they worship, the god of technology? And I explained it. Callie says, I know a lot of people who went into healthcare only for the money. Yeah, there's like so many other things that you could do with your life though and make lots of money. That doesn't require the same toll. But yeah, there are a lot of people in healthcare that work, and it's like they don't have a lot of caring for the people. Like it's like a very cold, like a coldness, like a disconnect. Adrian says, yeah, I dated a doctor for over 20 years, but I deprogrammed him some. He was a good man to be a doctor. Yeah. There are a lot of good doctors, and I've worked with a lot of good doctors. The good doctors are usually the ones that are poor. Like the last doctor I worked with, he was like so in debt, and he always like his office was like stacked with all this paperwork, like mad professor, and he had a big picture of the Pope in his office over his desk. He had a big picture of the Pope, and yeah, stacks of journals, old patient files, like old books, and he'd be like his computer like had papers like over the keyboard. But yeah, one doctor I worked with, Dr. Ho, that was my geriatric rotation in medical school. I spent a month at the old tuberculosis hospital ward in Oakland, and they turned it into a psych hospital and a long nursing home, long-term care for people that are wards of the state. So these were people that had, these were patients that had like chronic HIV from like the very beginning, that they now maybe were, it had gone into their brain and they didn't have any family members. They were wards of the state. So like there eventually has to be places for these people to go if they don't fall through the cracks, and they end up in these federal, or no, I guess this was a state hospital, but it was like a nursing home. It was very hard to get into because it was only so many beds. So there were some people in vegetative states that had been there for like, you know, a decade. And it's very, very sad. It's kind of like what you picture if you like picture like a hospital in Russia or like Romania. It was old, like it was an old tuberculosis ward, and it hadn't really been renovated. And then the psychiatric hospital, which was a little bit more renovated because there was less ill people. There was more like people coming in and out and like can go back to the community. But the part I was at were the people in vegetative states and like severely mentally handicapped. Some people didn't have mental handicaps, but they were wards of the state. So, you know, they don't have any insurance, and they can't make their own medical decisions. So a lot of times, a lot of these patients were constant cases in these ethic boards that I'd be part of, where the doctors would get together and discuss what the ethics were, basically keeping this person alive. And, you know, if there was any chance of recovery, like what the treatment plan was, there was any changes that needed to be made. But the doctor who ran the place, his name was Dr. Ho, and he was like this cute, I think he was Chinese. Yeah, he was Chinese. I think he was originally from Hong Kong. But I did the rotation with my really close friend Debbie, and she's Chinese, and he never wanted us to bring lunch because he always bought lunch for us. And every morning when we do our rounds on all the patients, he had like a bag of candy, and that's how he interacted with the patients. And he'd give them a little like hard candy to every person he'd see, and that's how we would do our rounds. And then at lunch, he would buy us lunch, and it was usually like the cheap like dollar store like handle of Arizona iced tea, like some greasy meat that I didn't even know what it was. But I ate it. I ate it to be polite. Yeah, but he was, I mean, like, but that was his life. Like he had like 50 patients in vegetative states and various, like, these were some patients where they would take their excrement and like smear it in their mouth, and like, you know, like people that are in decorticate positions, like where they're like paralyzed like this, you know, like with, because their spinal cord's been severed. There was one guy that he actually, I made friends with. He was a young guy, and he had gotten in a motorcycle accident, and I think he had broken his pelvis, I think, and then he was paralyzed from the waist down, and he was like 25, and I was pretty much the same age, and he had a suprapubic catheter to pee, so he had a pee hole, like he had a pee hole up here right through his bladder, but he was able to make it out of there. But yeah, so this Dr. Ho, like he that was his life, like that, you know. He's not making big bucks, like he wasn't making He wasn't driving home in a Porsche. Like he had like an old, like I think an old model Lexus. Um, and you know, he was making a difference in his way, and he was a voice for people like that nobody wanted. And there's many doctors that could like take it really really bad, like, or it could be really neglectful, and it wasn't. Like he, like the fact that he had the candy, and like he was more interpersonal. um, but yeah, those doctors are the newer age doctors are trained like very like look things up on the computer, you know, very impersonal, very mathematical, like algorithms. And most medicine's not like that. Like most medicine, it's like thinking about things outside the box, and like listening to what people have to say, gaining trust. Brenda says, I was blown away to learn you're a PA, Aphrodite. We should collaborate. We should. Are you a pharmacist close by? Rebalancing the body's natural healing potential. Yeah. Our food and air, water is toxic these days. Drugs not much better. Yeah. It's crazy to think how much medication I used to take too. I used to take like a Zyrtec every day because up in the Bay Area I had really bad allergies and hay fever all the time. My nose was just running. So I was like on Claritin forever, just all the allergy medicines. But then it was Zyrtec seemed to work for me for a good 20 years. I took that every day before bed. I was taking birth control pills. I was taking antacid pills. You know, even just like Dayquil pills, aspirin, Tylenol, ibuprofen. I never liked taking vitamins, so I don't like taking vitamins. Adrian says, I need to find a good holistic doctor. Kelly says, you're right, everything is algorithm based. Yeah. And a lot of it's like it jumps the gun. Like a lot of doctors now, they don't follow the standard watch and wait. Like normally you're supposed to let like lifestyle changes and diet changes first, and then you go to medication, and then you go to like a second medication, and then you go to imaging, like CT scan, x-ray stuff, and then you go to possible surgery, you know. But it's like nowadays, if you have like a little abnormal blood test, the doctor's like, let me send you to the specialist, let me schedule for you for a biopsy. It's like, whoa, wait a minute, like maybe you should just repeat the test in a month and see if the patient can just get better on their own. Like maybe it was a bad lab test, like maybe the blood sample got contaminated. You can't just treat like a one-time event. But it is a it is a model to make money. Like the more tests you order, the more things you find. The more tests you order, the more things you can possibly treat. The more treatments you do, the more things you can bill for. Yeah, sometimes like a lot of times patients think like, oh, it's really good I'm getting a CT scan, or oh, it's really good I'm getting an X-ray. But sometimes like the X-rays and the CT scans are a little frivolous, and it is radiation. And you also want to be very, very careful if you're getting hooked up to any dye, because a lot of people can get infections from the CT scanner IV infusion, the dye that they put in. They have to hook it up to this injector that shoots the dye at the same time as they take the image, so that you can see all of the dye going through your arteries, and you can see the lining of your arteries and stuff. But the CT scanner injector, they use the same one for everybody at the hospital. So yeah, they say it's sterile, blah, blah, blah. But the person that had sepsis, you know, that they were looking at their body, the IV injector, they're hooking you up to that person the person who had sepsis, they're doing a CT scan with IV on a person that has like a knee problem or, you know, like an ankle problem. So I'm just saying that if you're getting a CT scan, especially with dye, you should really make sure it's like you really need it and like you're looking for something. Like there needs to be a decision that be made. Like if we see this on the CT scan, we'll go this way. If we don't see it, we'll go this way. Not just like, oh, we'll just look for fun. Because I've known people that have gotten really, really sick just from getting a CT scan. They got seeded with bacteria. Adrian says, exactly. I avoid my checkups, but the have to see me because of diabetes. Oh. Were you born with diabetes, Adrian? Callie, yes, my mom almost died from the nurse giving her too much iodine dye. Oh, yeah. The iodine, it really can mess with your kidneys. And they don't really take that into account, too. I mean, they do if you have kidney problems, but it's like, if you don't know, or if you're a borderline, then that CT dye, iodine dye, can push you into kidney failure. A lot of people in the hospital that get a lot of tests done will later have acute renal failure from like the overdose of like dye, medications through the IV. Your body's not used to getting all of that at once to process, and it overloads your kidneys. Brando says, I gotta run. Keep up the good news. Bye, Brando. Thanks for joining. I don't think so. It's a money racket somewhat. Brando recommends everyone get in shape. Like World War III is coming because of it. Yes, it is. Yeah, like what do you guys think about? I didn't give any energy or attention to the whole former president getting arrested because that's just a total psyop. It just seems to like a test to see how reactive people are right now. But yeah, I'm hoping the energy of people getting exposed just continues. Let justice prevail. Yes. Yes. So I'm hoping to plan maybe a cross-country road trip this year. We will see. I'm going to be going to my cousin's baby shower in a few days, which is exciting. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Have a lovely Saturday. Go outside.